Hi guys, Brand here today with another commentary video, and today we're going to be talking about how you can't force people to love a game that you love. Before we get started with that, remember there is a way to sub and like things down here below if you want to support me. Also, if you want to support my Twitch, it's there. If you support my Discord, it's there. If that was too fast for you, that's understandable. It's in the description below. It's also on the YouTube page itself. So those are avenues for you to continue hanging out. So yeah. Without further ado, let's get started. So today I really wanted to talk to you about how you really can't force people to like games that you like. But I think it's a practice that I see a lot of people do, not only the Dead by Daylight community, but like in general. People think that if like, hey, if I love this game and I'm super positive about this game, I want to be able to force you to be positive and love this game, even if you're not necessarily going to do that on your own. They try to like microcosmically control like the way that you enjoy things and kind of force you to enjoy things. I think you see this most often in like the Dead by Daylight zone of things, where it comes to like people being like aggressively brown nosy on like the DBD's official Twitter, yelling at you on Twitter or on your Twitch or whatever when you're trying to bring up things that are wrong with the game, things you don't like about the game. There's always somebody who's going to be like very like aggressively positive and like very aggressively try to change your mind. And they usually don't do it in a very like nice and respectful way, if that makes sense. They very much try to like be like, well, why would you even think that? And they're very aggressive. I think that's the main thing. They're very aggressive. They like try to like come in and like make you feel dumb, make you feel small for disliking a game that they love a lot. And I think the initial idea is, hey, I want them to stop being negative about something I love. So I'm going to fight for my game. But I think it's a very emotional response, because in reality, people are going to hate your game more as a direct result of you trying to control the situation, trying to like defeat their negative opinions. And I have a very good example. And for those of you who are on the Twitch stream, you already know what's coming. A long time ago, if you don't know this, on the Twitch stream on Saturdays, we do a Discord requested horror game. So there's a Discord suggestion list. I usually pick like 4 or 5, and we'll put it in a poll, and whatever wins the poll is what is played that Saturday. These are usually full playthroughs of games that usually take hours on end, so it's a full playthrough deal. So word got around that I had never ever played the FNAF games, the Five Nights at Freddy's games. Which is a very fun topic now, considering the Springtrap failure thing. So I never played them. I'd only ever watched them, but I never actually physically played them myself, despite like owning them. Like I owned the first one and the second one. So yeah, but I had never played them. So that one was voted to be the game that I was going to be playing that upcoming Saturday. And if you don't know this, my Saturday playthroughs are blind, meaning that I don't look anything up. I don't let anybody in the chat tell me what to do. It's essentially I'm playing it as if, you know, like not as intended, because I feel like most games are designed nowadays to like, you know, with the intent that you look stuff up. But I like to play games blind and kind of discover organically how the game's flow was supposed to be, if it weren't for the ability to look things up. So I play almost every game blind. I play every game blind for our Horror Saturdays, and I very much am very passionate about enforcing that. Like, unless I literally get stuck on something for like an hour, and at that point it's like ruining the flow of the stream, I want to keep it blind. FNAF Night was probably the worst playthrough that I had ever done on the channel up until this point. Like even today, like today, like up until this point, the FNAF playthroughs were the worst playthroughs I've ever done in the channel. And it was because of this mentality of, I want to force you to like this thing that I like. So I go into the game, and the cool thing about Five Nights at Freddy's is that it's kind of like a horror game, except like on hard mode, right? Like usually horror games are all about cheap spooks, or like indie horror games are usually about like cheap spooks, you know, jump scares, more about atmosphere than actual like gameplay. Five Nights at Freddy's is the opposite. Five Nights at Freddy's is like all gameplay, all difficult gameplay, and it's all about getting a flow down and getting an efficiency down, which is really fun and really cool. Or rather, it would have been. So I would say the big challenges and interests to playing Five Nights at Freddy's is A, figuring out what the robots are doing, what the animatronics are up to, like how do they function, what's their behavior, and B, figuring out the lore, because the lore of Five Nights at Freddy's is never explicitly stated. You basically have to like piece things together based on background images, the little mini games that happen in some of the later games, just stuff like that. You got to like piece things together visually, because the game never tells you anything, and that journey is a fun journey to have. And I love games like Dark Souls that do that more visual storytelling instead of just outright, you know, telling you what happened. So that's what I was really looking forward to when I was going to play this game, is those two things. But those got ruined for me by the community that was afraid that I was going to hate the game. So even though it's, you know, the channel has the video marked as a blind playthrough, when I'm doing a blind playthrough, my viewers always, my regulars always do exclamation point, you know, backseat, to, you know, remind people that this is blind, not to backseat. And they do that pretty frequently during my Saturday playthroughs. For some reason, the FNAF community took it upon themselves to tell me what every single robot did, what every single animatronic did, and also when I said, hey, don't tell me about the Bite of 87, don't tell me about any of that stuff, because I want to figure out on my own, they proceeded to explain it anyway. There was multiple people in chat telling them, please stop explaining these things. There was multiple commands made to like remind people, hey, can you please stop saying that? It's the only time in channel history, the history of the channel, I've had to ban somebody because they weren't respecting the blind playthrough rule. It's the only time I've had to ban somebody for not respecting the blind playthrough rule. Because I said, no, I really don't want to know the way Foxy operates. I'm pretty sure I can figure it out, okay? I'm pretty sure I can figure it out, and I'm pretty sure I can beat the game. I'm a big boy, and I've played video games for a long time. I would like to, like, I don't mind dying like 20 times to try and like figure out what's going on, because that's like what I'm used to in other games like Dark Souls, you know? Sometimes you have to fail to learn, and I don't mind that. But I guess the idea set was, at some point he might get frustrated at the game because he's dying so much, and he might not figure out, and then he might hate the game. So I gotta tell him right now. And basically they spoiled how to beat every single animatronic, and they spoiled the entire plot of the first game and its relevance to other games in the series, and we had to ban people for not respecting that. And it's just like it'd be one thing if you didn't know, right? Like, honest mistake, but it's the fact that we told them multiple times, please stop spoiling things, and they didn't care. They didn't give a darn, and they just kept spoiling it. I said, this is my boundary, don't cross my boundary, and they said, I don't care about your boundary because I want you to enjoy the game the way I enjoyed the game. They said, my feelings about the game are more important than yours. And now I hate that game, and I kind of hate the community of FNAF for that reason. And you might think, wow, that's a harsh response for one game. It happened in the second game too. When we played FNAF 2, same thing happened. I was like, don't tell me what the mini games mean. I'll try to figure it out. A lot of mechanics were way different in FNAF 2, which I ended up enjoying, just from a gameplay perspective. A lot of the mechanics were very different in FNAF 2, but the people were telling me how to beat it right away, and we were like, please stop telling me how to beat it. This is a blind playthrough. I want to figure out what all the new animatronics do. I want to figure out the weird mask mechanic. I want to figure these things out for myself. Nope. Even though we kept telling these people, hey, I don't want to know this. I want to enjoy the game the way I want to enjoy the game. Even though we told them, hey, I want to enjoy the game the way I want to figure it out blindly, they just kept disrespecting that. After we had put that boundary, they said, screw your boundary. I know what's best for you. And like I said, now I hate FNAF. And I want the community very, very far away from me, because just from what they've shown, they just don't care about other people's feelings. And this is a plague that happens in Dead by Daylight a lot, is that, like, you have to enjoy the game the way I enjoy the game. I want to control the way you feel about Dead by Daylight, because it makes me feel secure if I'm controlling the way you feel about it. If you're not being negative about it, if I can stop you from being negative about it, or this happens on the flip side too. People like forcing people to be negative about it. I'll be like I was like in the last PTB, I was like enjoying Nemesis a lot, and they're like, no, you gotta understand, this is a boring killer. This is a boring killer. You have to think this killer is boring. Like, people will like aggressively want you to be negative too. And I just say, who cares, dude? You're not going to convince anybody. Being really aggressively trying to control people's feelings about something that you like or dislike is not going to work. That is going to put people off. They are not going to talk to you, and they are going to have a negative reaction to you because you're so heavily trying to force your agenda down their throat. Nobody likes that. You are not going to convince them, and if anything, you're going to drive them the other way because you're being so mean and so aggressive about it. So please stop doing this, not only in the Dead by Daylight world. Stop doing this, period. Stop doing this with other games. Stop doing this, period. It's not that big of a deal. It's just not. It's just not. One of my great friends, Witchy Mercy, who I will plug somewhere, somehow. Although I don't think they have a YouTube. We'll figure that out. But one of my good friends, one of my mods, Witchy Mercy, played Resident Evil 7 and did not like it. That's one of my favorite games. I love Resident Evil 7. But I didn't get like butthurt or weird about it because it's just a game and other people's feelings matter more than my opinions about video games. I think Resident Evil 7 is a very great game. I think it's top 15 games I've ever played. Witchy didn't like it. So what? So what? Why does it matter? Why do I have to make sure that she likes the game I like? Why is that relevant? And why do people get so intense and butthurt about it? Like, it literally just makes no freaking sense to me. Like, you guys are children. And like, God, I think that's the main problem. You guys aren't children. You guys are adults. But you're just, like, get so, like, whiny and butthurt over the stupidest stuff. Like, did nobody, like, at any point in your life up until this point tell you how stupid you're acting? Like, did you get away with it up until this point? Because this is not how people act. You're freaking weird, dude. TLDR, you're freaking weird. Stop trying to control the way people feel about things, you insecure little rat. Jeez, man. God, people are something. But yeah, I think I'm going to end that there because I'm like getting worked up and this video is already long enough. So yeah, TLDR, please stop trying to control the way people feel about things, whether they like or dislike it. If you get super aggressive about trying to stop people from liking something or, you know, wanting them to like something, you're probably just going to make them upset and frustrated and then give them a negative reaction to whatever you were trying to do anyway. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video and thank you for hanging out with me. If you like what I do, make sure to actually like things. And also subby wubby to stay around for a while. Other than that, I don't think I have anything else for you. So I'll see you when I see you, friends. Goodbye.